Hi everyone, today we are diving into inflation. That sneaky little thing that makes your coffee, groceries, and rent cost more without you even noticing. So, what exactly is inflation? How many types are there? And most importantly, is it really as bad as people make it out to be? Here's a question for you. Do you think negative inflation is better than high inflation? Think about it and drop your answer in the comments. And here's a little spoiler. No, it's not that simple. And I'm gonna explain exactly why with real examples you can actually relate to. So, buckle up, because of the end of this video, you will actually get inflation. Who wins, who loses, and how it affects your wallet. Let's go. You know, inflation is not just some scary headline flashing on the evening news. It's that invisible force quietly deciding how far your paycheck really stretches. Before we jump into who wins and who loses, let's start from the basics. Inflation is simply means prices are going up, not for one thing, but for almost everything you buy. When inflation rises, your money starts losing its power. Think about it. That same $100 that filled your grocery cart last year might only fill half of it today. But here, where it gets interesting. Not all inflation is created equal. Economists actually break it down into different types, each with its own cause and its own group of people who feel the pain. Demand pull inflation, when everyone's trying to buy more than what's available. Then there is cost push inflation, when it gets more expensive produce stuff, like when oil prices spike. And finally, built-in inflation, when workers expect prices to rise and ask for higher wages, which pushes prices up even more. It's like an economic domino effect. Now, those might sound like textbook terms, but they are very real right now. In Argentina, prices have jumped over 100% in a single year. People literally rush to spend their money before it loses value. In Japan, it's the complete opposite. For decades, they battled deflation, where prices fall and people stop spending because they think things will get cheaper later. And then there is the United States, where inflation hit a 40-year high after 2020. It's cooling down now, sure, but prices are still around 20% higher than before the pandemic. So at this point, the question isn't really what is inflation anymore. It's what kind of inflation are we living through and how should we react? Because here's a twist. Depending on who you are, a borrower, a saver, a worker, or a retired, inflation can either help you or hurt you. So let's dive in and find out who actually wins and who loses when inflation hits. Alright. Let's break it down. Not all inflation is the same. There are different flavors of it, and each one hits people in a completely different way. First up, demand pull inflation. This happens when everyone wants to buy stuff, but there is just not enough supply. Remember what happened after COVID? People rushed to buy cars, electronics, even houses, and prices explode. The United States went through this in 2021 and 2022. Too much stimulus money chasing too few goods. Classic demand pull inflation. Next one is cost push inflation. It kicks in when production costs go up, like energy, raw materials, or wages, and companies hike prices to protect their profits. Europe is the perfect example. Right after Russia invaded Ukraine, energy prices went wild, and inflation in countries like Germany and Italy shot above 10%. That's cost push in action. Then we have got built-in inflation. This one is all about expectations. When workers expect prices to rise, they ask for higher wages. Then companies raise prices again, cover those wage increases. It's a loop that never ends. Argentina is stuck in this cycle, year after year. Both wages and prices are rise, but no one actually feels richer. Now, the scary one, hyperinflation. That's when prices spiral completely out of control, like in Venezuela or Zimbabwe, where money basically became worthless overnight. People carried stacks of cash just to buy bread. It's not an economy in that point, it's chaos. And finally, deflation or negative inflation. Sounds good, right? Falling prices, but actually it's not. When prices keep dropping, people stop spending because they think things will be cheaper tomorrow. Japan has been stuck in this for decades, and it's frozen parts of their economy for years. So yeah, minus inflation isn't a win either. So when we talk about inflation, we're not really talking about one thing. It's a whole collection of economic dramas, each playing out in a different country, with different causes and a very different consequences. Now, we are in the second two, the current inflation reality. So Where do we actually stand right now? Inflation in the United States is cooling down a lot, from almost 9% in mid-2022. It's now hovering around 3 to 3.5% in 2025, depending on which data you look at. Much better, sure, but still higher than the Fed's 2% target. Now, here's the thing. America isn't fighting this battle alone. Europe is still wrestling with what economists call sticky inflation, especially in foods and energy prices. And in places like Argentina or Turkey, inflation isn't a headline anymore. It's just part of daily life. Prices there change faster than salaries can catch up. The United States tried to fight back with high interest rates, a classic tight monetary policy. And you know what? It worked. Kind of. Prices did start cooling, but at the same time, borrowing costs went through the roof. People are now paying more for mortgages, car loans, and even credit cards. Meanwhile, Japan took the complete opposite route. They kept interest rates near zero to protect fragile growth, even if that means a weaker yen and pricier imports. Different playbooks, same opponent. Inflation. But what does all of this mean for you and me? It means inflation isn't just some number from the central banks. It's the price of your morning coffee. It's your rent. It's your next grocery bill. Whether you are in Los Angeles, Berlin or Buenos Aires, the feeling is the same. Your money doesn't stretch as far as it used to. And that brings us to the big question. Now that we understand what's happening, how should we react? Should we spend less, save more, or invest smarter? Let's think about that together. And you are not bored, are you? We come to the most important point, winners and losers of inflation. So, we have talked about what inflation is and how it affects prices everywhere. But here's the real question, who actually wins and who loses when inflation hits? It's easy to think everyone loses, right? But that's not exactly true. Inflation doesn't hit everyone the same way. It quietly picks sides. Borrowers is the hidden winners. If you owe money, like a mortgage or a student loan, inflation can actually work for you. Here's why. You are paying back your debt with cheaper dollars in the future. Think about it. You borrowed $100,000 for a house. A year later, prices and wages go up 10%. That same $100,000 debt feels lighter now because your salary went up, but your loan didn't. So, in a way, inflation slowly eats away at what you owe. That's why during high inflation periods, people with fixed rate loans often come out ahead as long as they keep their jobs. For example, in the 1970s United States, homeowners with fixed rates mortgages actually saw their debts shrink in real terms, while banks lost money. Number 2 savers is the silent losers. Now let's flip it. If you are saving money in a regular bank account, inflation is your worst enemy because your money is standing still while prices are running. If inflation is 5% and your savings earn 1%, you are actually losing 4% of your buying power every single year. That's why during inflation, people start looking for better places to store their value, like treasury bonds, gold, or even real estate. For example, in Turkey, millions of people started buying gold coins and United States dollars just to protect their savings. It wasn't about getting rich, it was about not getting poorer. Number 3, businesses. Winners or losers? It depends. For some companies, inflation is an opportunity. If they can raise prices faster than their costs go up, they win. Think oil companies, supermarkets, or energy firms. They just pass higher costs to consumers. But for smaller business that can't do that, it's deadly. Their profit margins shrink and customers start cutting back. In Europe, small food producers struggled with energy bills after 2022, while giants like Nestle raised prices and still grew profits. Number 4, workers. It's complicated. For workers, inflation like a race between paychecks and prices. If your salary rises slower than prices, you're actually falling behind, even if you earn more on paper. In the United States, between 2021 to 2023, real wages fell by around 3%. People were working just as hard but could afford less. Still, in sectors with strong unions or labor shortages like tech or energy, some workers managed to demand raises that even beat inflation. And the last one, retires and fixed income earners, the hardest hit. The group that suffers the most retires. If you live on a fixed pension, inflation hits you like a hammer. Your income stays the same, but everything around you costs more. Unless your pension is indexed to inflation, like in Canada or parts of Europe, he lost purchasing power every single month. In Argentina, retirees have been hit the hardest, with inflation above 100%. Their savings lost value almost instantly. So what can we learn from all this? Inflation doesn't just raise prices. It reshuffles wealth. It quietly transfers money from savers to borrowers, from the cautious to the bold, and sometimes from ordinary people to powerful corporations. That's why understanding inflation isn't just about economics. It's about strategy and fairness. So now that we know who wins and who loses, how do you protect yourself from inflation? That's exactly what we will talk about next. And we are into final part. How to react to inflation. We have talked about what inflation is, who wins, who loses. Now comes to the real question. What can you actually do about it? Because inflation doesn't care if you are ready or not. It quietly eats away at your savings, your income, and your plans. But here's the thing, if you understand it, you can use it instead of being used by it. Let's break this down. Don't just save, invest smart. Keeping your money in the bank might feel safe, but during inflation, safe often means slowly losing value. If inflation is 4% and your savings earn 1%, you are actually going backward. So what can keep up? Assets that grow with inflation. Stocks. Many companies raise prices, so profits stay balanced. Real estate. Property values often climb as prices rise. Commodities, things like gold, oil, or agricultural goods can hedge against inflation. For example, between 2020 and 2023, while prices were rising fast, United States home values went up over 40%. But remember, investing isn't gambling. Diversify, stay patient, don't chase hype. Number 2. Manage debt wisely. If you have a fixed rate loan, inflation might actually help you. Your payments stay the same, while your income might rise. But with variable rate debt like credit cards, you are in trouble, because interest rates rise along with inflation. So, lock in rates when possible, and pay off high interest debt first. Between 2022 and 2024, credit card interest in the United States hit record heights, over 22% APR. Number 3. Keep learning. Financial literacy is your armor. Most people don't lose money because of inflation. They lose because they don't understand it. Learning how interest rates, government policy, and prices connect literally change your financial future. According to the OECD, people with strong financial literacy 2.5 times more likely to make inflation-proof investment decisions. You don't need to be an economist, just curious and consistent. The more you learn, the less inflation can surprise you. And number 4, adapt your lifestyle, not your dreams. Cutting waste isn't nothing happiness. Track your expenses, use price trackers, buy in bulk when possible. Inflation rewards planning, not panic. In Germany, during life inflation, families who adjusted early saved up to 12% of their annual expenses. So, adapt early, not fearfully. And number 5, think globally, act locally. Inflation isn't just your country's problem, it's a global pattern. If your local currency is losing value, consider holding a portion of your savings in stronger currencies or assets less tied to your domestic economy. And here's the final thought. Inflation isn't an unstoppable monster. It's a message. It's telling us the world is changing and we need to change with it. People who panic lose. People who adapt survive. But the ones who understand, they thrive. Thank you for watching at the end of this video. Take care of yourself. Spend wisely, invest smarter. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you in the next video. Bye.